What's going on, guys? Kevin from Epic Gardening here with a tutorial on how to grow Canton Pak Choi microgreens. A lot of people like this green in Asian cuisine, and oftentimes it is an overlooked microgreen, but it's exceptionally easy to grow and it grows quite fast, and the yield per tray or per container is really actually pretty impressive. So let's get into what you need. First of all, obviously some seed. I get mine from everwild.com, everwilde.com, and they've always been extremely fair. The prices are amazing, and you can buy in almost any amount that you want. So I would recommend them if you guys are getting started in microgreen growing. Next, you're going to need a water bottle. This is just an old organic cleaning bottle that I rinsed out, and I use water in it now. You're going to need a container. Usually I would grow in a 10 by 20 tray, but in this situation, for this tutorial, we can just use one of these small food grade containers. Actually, a container that I used to deliver to restaurants in. About this size. Next, soil. I've gone over this many times, but I like to use an organic potting soil mixed 50-50 with coconut coir to add water retention properties and not sacrifice much in the way of nutrition, as well as make the entire mixture a bit cheaper rather than just going straight up potting soil. But you can use potting soil if you want. I would not recommend using seedling mix. It's a bit too fine and does not absorb water very well, I've found, because it'll often have too much perlite or vermiculite in it, and just you'll almost get a hydrophobic effect where the water does not want to be absorbed by that medium. All right, so what you want to do is grab a handful of the soil, pop it into your container, and make sure and level it off as best you can. You can do a nice level and pat play, which is what I like to do. You don't want to compact the soil too much, but you do want to get it as uniform as possible. Mist it, just so the seeds kind of stick where they're shaken out. And go ahead and sprinkle some seed. Now, if I'm using a 10 by 20 tray for pak choi, I'll use an ounce of seed. So about 16 trays can be grown from 1 pound, because 16 ounces to a pound. But in this case, I just put it into a crushed red pepper shaker that I emptied out from my cooking, and I go ahead and just shake it nice and uniform here. So this is why you want to flatten out the soil, is so you get a uniform distribution of seed, and this is why you want to use some sort of medium like a shaker or a glass or something like that to get the seed onto the soil, because then you're going to get exceptionally uniform distribution like this. And it's okay that the edges are a little bit sparse, because as you'll see when we do the grow along, they'll kind of grow up and they'll fall out just a little bit as they get a little bit longer. Alright, next thing we're going to do, go ahead and give this a healthy spray. And if I was using a 10 by 20, what I would be doing right now is I would be then covering up this container with another 10 by 20 to black it out. And you'd be doing that for, I think with pak choi, about 2 to 3 days, probably 3 days before the seeds start to germinate, and then you uncover it and expose it to light and green them up. Now, we're going to go ahead and cut here. I'll show you what I'll do for this container, which is going to be wrapping it with aluminum foil, and then we will go on to the rest of the grow. Thank you. All right, day 2 of the pak choi, or Chinese cabbage. Not a lot going on here. It's to be expected. This seed takes a little bit longer to germinate. You can see some roots popping out if we get a closer look, but there's going to be a few more days of growth needed before we would be comfortable taking off the dome. And what I mean by that is I put a 10 by 20 tray over the top of this to cover it up, so there's no light whatsoever, because we're not putting a layer of soil on top to block the light out, so we need to cover it up somehow. It also helps to keep it nice and moist and warm, which is a good germination environment. So we'll check in 2 more days and see what's going on. Alright, pak choi, day 4. Greening up really nicely. I put this out under the sun about 24 hours ago, and you can tell that it's already starting to green up. Growth, little sparse, little bit uneven, but that's just because I usually would like to grow these under a light or under a direct source of sun or a direct source of light. But unfortunately, I'm growing it on the balcony right now just because this is the space that I'm working with, and that causes light obviously to only come in from 1.5 angles or so, basically west and a bit of south. And that's basically causing the plants to stretch a little bit and reach for that source. So what I'd like to do to balance it out is every day I sort of, it was this way, I'm going to go ahead and flip it this way, grow it today, and it'll balance itself out pretty nicely. So we'll check back in a couple of days and see how it's going. Here we are on day 7 of the Pak Choi Microgreen tutorial, and it's harvest time. So since the last time we looked, there's been an incredible amount of growth. I would say maybe inch and a half or so. You can see right here, there's some really good growth here. And the rest of this is pretty simple. It's just harvesting, honestly. And the way I like to harvest in a smaller container like this is with a tray or with a knife, just like this. This is a Victorinox paring knife. But if you were going to use a tray, if you're growing in a 10 by 20, you could use a knife as well. Some people like to use scissors. I just like to use this. It's exceptionally sharp and cuts basically immediately. Like I can show a quick, you barely need to do anything to slice this. I mean, it'll just go straight through like that. So what I like to do in a container like this is hold it over a bowl, tilt it to the side, and then cut in pieces. So you want to go basically a 1/4 inch above the actual soil. So if we look really close up here, you can see there's little bits of soil down there, little bits of seed husk that have remained, and we don't want that. We want to not wash these, because as long as we don't have mold and we've grown a healthy plant, we don't need to wash them, and washing will reduce the shelf life and just take a lot of unnecessary time. So you just drag it really slowly and cleanly through. Once you get to about halfway through the container, you're going to want to just flip it over and do the other side. So we're about halfway through. That's the beauty of having a really good knife, is it just cuts so easily. We'll go through the other side. So Pak Choi is very similar to many other mustards, and it's got a peppery taste. Sometimes people can find it to be a little much. Maybe you can use it as a garnish or as an addition into a salad mix, but not as an entire dish. Although if you do like that, then go ahead and do that. I know I personally do. I'll throw it into smoothies and soups and stuff like that. So here we go. I mean, we've got pretty solid yield. Let's get a close-up on these greens. And before we do the close-up, just one thing you can do, because Pak Choi will sometimes hold on to their seed husk, and that could be a little annoying from a cleaning perspective. So I like to give it a shake, and you can see at the bottom, all the debris has shaken out to the bottom. And then go ahead and just dump this. Well, I'd normally dump and give it a quality rinse, but I don't really care for this tutorial. And you've got a really nice amount. So if you're growing in there's a close-up shot. If you're growing in a 10 by 20 tray, you can expect anywhere from, I don't know, 8 to 12 ounces, depending on how long you grow it. And I would use about an ounce of seed to actually, an ounce of actual seed to plant. And so there's pretty big return on this, and this is a crop that will sell for anywhere from $3 an ounce to $2 to $4 an ounce, depending on who and where you're selling it to and what volume. So this has been the Pak Choi Grow, guys. 7 days to fully harvestable crop. Really good, tasty, green, nutritious. Go ahead and grow some on your own. If you like this video, definitely hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. There's going to be a lot more coming. And let me know in the comments what you want to see, because all these videos I make based on your feedback. So let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see me grow in the future, any questions that you have, and I'll go ahead and make some more videos for you guys. Alright guys, Kevin from Epic Gardening. Grow some Pak Choi. Later.